Hello and welcome again to another episode of Battle Ready.
Ready.
Nice. And so today we thought we'd talk about something that is known throughout the hobby, and
Especially me.
that is the pile of shame.
Shame.
So now some people call it don't like pile of shame because it sounds negative. Sometimes people call it, oh, it's a pile of potential or a pile of opportunity.
No.
Call it what you want. We're gonna go with pile of shame since that's the most understood term. But for if you don't know, a pile of shame is basically models that you've purchased or been given or whatever, models you have that you haven't finished. Whether that means totally in the box, not built.
That's me.
Well, you've built most of them.
But I have.
Or unpainted. That's where Drake is. So we thought
that, and I'm mostly just not finished painting.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
There's many of them have started being painted.
My art boys are almost done.
Yeah, but you got another unit of troll you got to do. Finish up those trolls so you can play Gits.
We've been able to play Gits.
So I thought we'd talk about that. And one, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And two, what do you do about it?
You do it.
So you do it. So Drake, pile of shame, good thing or bad thing?
Neutral thing.
Neutral thing. I think that's the best way to look at it. I actually, sometimes people will say online, like they're so worried, like, oh no, my pile of shame has grown, and it's not, yeah, and it's not that big a deal, right? I mean, it's not a huge thing. I'll post a picture, but prior to getting involved with Warhammer, I was extremely involved, and I still enjoy board games, and I have.
You have an entire wall.
I have a few. I have quite.
By a few, we mean over 100.
Yeah, it's much more than that.
Oh, really?
But I have several, and many times, a new game would come out, and I would buy it sight unseen to sort of get a taste of it, and sometimes that worked out great. Sometimes I wish I'd not bought that certain thing, and then there were things I did to deal with it. So the first thing I started to do, especially as I was in that hobby longer and longer, is I stopped buying just everything. There's a saying, this is popular among book readers, but they say people buy too many books because when they buy the book, they think they're also buying the time to read it. Right? You could buy every book in the world, but if you don't have time to read it, it's not doing much for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of the same way with board games and definitely the same way with models.
I make time for it.
You make time?
I will destroy my schedule to read a book.
So I think sometimes you see a new model and you're like, oh, I want to get that.
But I don't have enough money.
But that'll make sure you don't get it. So poverty, I think, is probably a way to go about it. But also you see the new model and you think it's cool and you want to get it because you're thinking about all these cool things you're going to do with it or the army you're going to add it to or whatever it is. But if it just gets put at the bottom of a pile where you're not going to get to it for a year or 2 years or however long.
Stuff I've completed, this one rock. Stuff I have not completed, all the grass.
All the grass.
All the grass.
Then is it really, I mean, what are you getting out of buying it, realistically? You're getting just that quick dopamine hit of, yeah, cool. And then it just goes on the pile. And maybe someday, like I did with many of my board games that I wasn't as a fan of, you sort of shuffle it along to somebody else and recoup some of the money, but I don't know, it's not doing a lot for you.
Here's another thing that happened to me a couple of nights ago.
Sure.
Another thing with the pile of shame, if it gets so big, you have to set it on tables, and that so said table is next to your bunk bed, and your cat jumps on said table to get to you on said bed. That said case of models will get knocked over.
That is a very specific threat, but a real one.
Because it's happened.
Because it's happened.
I still have to clean up the models.
So I think, like I said, I think what you said before, though, is absolutely right. It is a neutral thing, right? If it's not hurting anyone, if you're not spending the rent money on models, right? And
I'll pay for the rent and models.
And you want to get another guy, and then go for it, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with having a large pile of shame. There's nothing. There's nothing super shameful about having a pile of shame. Right?
Except for dad teasing.
Yeah, I will tease you. That's true.
I will start this pile of shame on the weekends. I
So,
can only really do it then.
how do we go about avoiding the pile of shame? Well, Drake had a good idea, and that is poverty. If you happen to be 10 years old and you can't afford models without significant chores and
By chores, we mean digging outside in the sun.
digging outside in the sun for money, that's one way. Another
Sorry
way,
for poverty.
what I like to do is I only buy models if I have a use in mind. If I have a project,
And I do.
I'm gonna buy the Warcry set, Heart of Gur, because I want to play this game, and so
Same.
that helps to motivate me. Or
Same.
I bought bunch of Caradron Arcanaut Company because I want to add them to my army so I can play that type of Caradron list. And so that motivation, there's lots of times I'll see a model that's really cool. I'll give you a great example. I love the Gardas model. I think Gardas is really cool. But he's not a model. The rules, I don't really want to add him to Hollowed Knights. He's fine. The only bad thing is he's a foot hero, so he only moves like 5 inches.
I mean,
and he's got a bubble of 5-up ward. Now that 5-up ward's good, right? If 5-up ward is a good thing to have, but because it stays with him, you're only giving it to maybe he's babysitting a unit or maybe 2 units, and probably just 1, given how elite Stormcast are. And if you're going to use him, you basically have to pick Hollowed Knights.
Is he not good at anything else?
Well, he is a Hollowed Knight, so you're only going to get Legion allegiance abilities for him if you're Hollowed Knights. So
that's an actual rule?
Yeah.
Oh.
So because of those things, even though I love the model, I haven't gotten it because I feel like, I don't have a plan. Now, maybe in the middle of the night, I'll have a dream and I'll wake up and I'll be like, I just thought of the perfect Gardas list. And boom, I'll go out and get him and I'll get him ready to paint up. But I need to have that plan first. The plan comes first because then once I buy him, I know, okay, I bought him. Maybe it takes me a little while to get the paint done or whatever, to get him built. But I have the plan, so I know it's marching towards something. I never buy just to have it for, sometime. Yes?
You can see the stack, if you see the boxes behind us.
Yeah, that hasn't stopped me from getting a lot of models, but they are all painted and built and can be played in various armies. Some of them I bought, and they turned out not to be as good as I thought they would be, and so they don't get played so much. The Ballista was, I thought, pretty good in 2.0, and they changed its rules in the latest Stormcast book, and it's not good. It's not good.
Why is it bad again?
Because it used to have the super shot, where you could fire a bunch of, and every
6.
Something was 2 hits. I forget the rules were, but you could do the rapid fire and get a lot of shots out of it. And so it was good for horde killings.
And the long range fire was good.
And the long range fire had a lot of rend. It was only 1, but high rend was good. So that's one thing that I like to use. Another thing that I like to use is now one thing, I have family, I've got Drake, and there's demands on my time. But I do have the opportunity to paint, a good amount of time. Not as much as some people, I'm sure, but I'm sure more than others. So I'm not saying that, you have to paint as often as I do in order to buy models. That would be ridiculous. Thank you.
I've completed one of my models.
I do have a semi-dedicated painting time each week, and that's what I do. And I'm not I don't enjoy painting the way that a lot of people seem to, and they'll spend a lot of time on a model and say, I find it relaxing to paint. I don't like painting, but I know it's the step I need to take to get to the thing I do like, which is models on the table. Yes, Drake?
That's me. I'm just raising my hand for the painting thing.
Oh, you like painting?
Disagreeing? Yeah.
That's good, though.
It's entirely me.
I think that would be great. If I liked painting, that would be even better, because then I would like every aspect of the hobby, because I love the lore, I love building, and I love playing. It's only that painting part that I'm not a big fan of.
Paint.
But you just, it's part of I've got the vision. I know what I want. And at the end, what I want is a painted model. So I just make sure to have that happen. And, it's not about motivation so much as it's about discipline, right? When it's painting time, then I do my painting.
I have very little of that.
Right? Very little discipline.
When it comes to painting.
That sounds about right.
My pile of shame, if we stacked every model on top of each other, probably this high.
It would for sure be higher than that. But
This high?
well,
that's a big pile of shame.
Yeah, but you've got like 20 Ard Boys. Or you only 10 Ard Boys. 10 Ard Boys.
3 pigs.
He's got to start collecting Iron Jaws box.
And I've only finished the Watch Anta.
That's right.
Oh, the Watch Anta does look good.
Yeah. So all those are good too, and I think just making the time and doing it. And I've found that even if I'm not, sometimes you're not feeling like painting. There's a video you want to watch, or there's a game you want to play, but just do it. And I found that if I get all the stuff out and I think to myself, all right, I'm just going to do a base coat. I'm just going to do a base coat on this model and then I'll be done. Well, usually I do that base coat and then I think, well, got everything out. I might as well just keep going.
That's usually me. I usually see it as a chore until I start doing it.
And then once you start doing it, you like it?
Yeah.
That's good. So those are the 2 tips I would have. And then the other thing is, if you have a pile of shame that you are ashamed about, you're not ashamed. And it's not anything to be ashamed of.
I just need the dad teasing to stop.
Well, that'll never stop. That's what it means to be a dad.
Until I slay the pile of shame. The pile of shame.
Well, as you get close, I'll just buy more models for you and add to your shame.
You have very clearly said you will not buy me any more models until I finish my current pile of shame.
That's true.
So as long as I keep my pile of shame right now, I won't.
It won't get any worse.
It won't get any worse.
Yeah, but I forgot what I was saying. But anyway, if you have a large pile of shame, I think the best thing to do is first stop adding to it. Right? Don't stop buying the new models. If you already have stuff, move those through. Or if you're sick of those things, maybe you bought them a long time ago and you thought they were cool then, and now you look at them and you're like, this stuff sucks. They came out with better versions, or I want to buy these other ones, or I want to 3D print some stuff instead of using these models. That's all cool. Move those shame models along, right? Put them on eBay, put them on the a Facebook marketplace, or trade at a store or whatever it is.
Give it back to Games Workshop.
But well, you probably can't do that. They want it, because they want money. They don't want models. They have enough models.
I mean, they can just press the undo button on the models a couple of times.
I think they can probably only do that for like 30 days. So if you've had models for a couple of years, they're not taking them back.
That's me.
But yes, move them along, right? There's no reason you need to keep stuff just because they've been in your pile as long as they have. And then just start chipping away at the gray, right? Put some color on those models.
I thought you meant chipping away at poverty.
It's that too. I mean, that's all only going to help. But just start getting paint on those models, and slowly but surely, the pile of shame goes away.
The problem is,
Greg, how do you feel about your pile of shame?
I need to kill it.
You've got trolls.
3 trolls.
You've got the Iron Jaws start collecting.
10 Ard Boys and 3 pigs.
And you've got
all
of Kill Team.
Except all of the Kill Team units and 1 terrain piece.
That's right, because I painted some of the terrain. So that terrain is done, but not from your painting.
I will give credit. The pigs are on their way.
Are they?
Yes.
Good.
The Iron Jaws are almost done. I'm just messing up on their necks, trying to fix it. Because I got red on the necks, so I have to repaint the auric flesh with white, then go back over with auric flesh.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Yeah, that's one of the things you get better at as you paint is brush control, and it just takes practice, right? The first few times you paint, that paint is going to go places where you're like, why'd you go there? I didn't even put the brush there. That's ridiculous.
I put the brush on the horn and it goes on the toe.
Exactly. You're like, what's happening? But the more you practice, the easier it gets. And actually, a lot of people talk online about getting better at painting. and getting better at your blending and your highlighting and this and that.
I've got
And that's
better at
all
blending.
great. If that's what you want to do, that's amazing. And I think people are wonderful artists. But I don't do that. I really focus on sort of a tabletop quality, and good enough is good enough for me.
Mhm.
So, but what happens is once you do it enough times, you get faster. It happens a lot faster. That also is something I think that helps with slaying the gray. Is
Stab.
if you try to make every model, get it to the height of perfection, the best you
Yep.
can,
Yep.
get every little detail on there, it's going to take you a lot longer. That pile of shame is going to be there for a while.
I want them to look good. When I finish the Gloomspite, I'm gonna repaint a lot of it.
That's cool.
Because I found the back of an entire Rocket's arm just black. Just straight black.
Well, what I'm saying
I'm
I think
repainting
is
them.
helpful for me is because I don't particularly like painting, it's very easy for me to get to a point where it looks good on the tabletop quality, and I just say, cool. Now I've tried enhancing a little bit. I've tried popping a little bit more contrast and bringing up some edge highlighting. It does look good,
Mhm.
but it's not something I need to do. And so I'm very happy to look at a character or one of 40 zombies and be like, all right, that's good enough. Next. And so I don't get caught up there. So don't get caught up in your head. I mean, if you want to do everything display quality, more power to you. Do what you want. But if what you're really painting for is to get cool models on the table and have fun with your friends,
Yep.
recognize that you don't have to take everything to 11, right? You can take everything to 7 and be good.
I will take everything to 7 plus 4.
That's 11.
Exactly.
All right. Any final thoughts about the pile of shame or the pile of opportunity, the pile of potential?
Or the pile of broken models.
Well, we don't want those. That's not a good pile to have.
Because then we have to use some Bondic.
Any final thoughts?
We never did talk about why it's good to have the option. So right now it's just entirely bad. Just bad.
I don't think it is good. I mean, I think it's neutral. I don't think it's a bad thing in that it's not a failing. It's not a moral failing to have a pile of shame.
I guess the one good thing is you have stuff to do in the middle of summer. I think
having a pile of shame is good if you're looking for stuff to do, right? You don't know when a project's you're gonna have a lot of time. Maybe you're self-employed and you go through that feast and famine period. So maybe there's a famine period and you've got some time on your hands, and so you've got something to do. Maybe it's good in that you really love to kit bash. If you're a big kit basher, then having a lot of spare models around, the extra heads and extra arms and extra guns and extra all that stuff, that can be really good because that'll give you a lot of things to draw from.
I have kit bashed.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of it. We haven't really kit bashed in the sense of mashing different kits together, but we have done a little bit of it, little swapping here and there to give an orc a better head or to give better guns to somebody in kill team. So we've done a little bit of stuff like that, but it's unusual. It's not our main hobby experience.
I've kit bashed a piggy so that they look like the weird knob shamans. What are they called?
Shaman?
There's a special word for the weird knob shaman on pig that they don't have a model for. I think it's a weird pig or something.
I don't know.
Also in the Ironjawz lore, there's a thingy that says respect the pig.
You're the pig.
You're the pig. This is not Pig and Pig.
Hopefully,
they're not sponsored.
Hopefully this has helped. Again, even though it's called a pile of shame, it's not a moral failing. It's not something shameful. But those models aren't doing you any good at the bottom of a pile. So hopefully we've encouraged you to move things along, get some things painted, and avoid having that pile grow and grow as new and cooler models come out.
Bro.
So this has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.